Hello, students. Today I have brought a new poem for the students of class 11th. This is first poem of your Hornbill book, a photograph. This poem has been composed by Shirley Tolson, as you could see on this screen. In this poem, the author talks about a photograph, a snapshot. This snapshot is of her mother and her mother's two cousins. She talks about the snapshot which is hanging by the wall in front of her, and she could see the picture and memorize about her mother's days whenever she was a child. Let you know about the explanation of the paragraph. The cardboard shows me how it was, as I am drawing on the screen just the shape of a photograph and the picture which you could see on the screen. Three girls are there in the picture. So, in that cardboard, it was showing me that when the two girl cousins went paddling, two girls along with the poetess mother, they went paddling to the beach, and three girls were there in the picture, two cousins of my mother and one is my mom. They went to the beach paddling, walking you could say, each one holding one of my mother's hands, and see the big girl, some 12 years or so. Each one, just they are holding my mother's hand, and see the big girl, the girl which is standing between two girls, her hand, they were holding the hand of her mother and some 12 years or so, and my mother's age was some 12 or 13 years. All these stood still to smile through their hair. Three girls, they were standing, just making their hairstyle, and they were smiling. You could see an expression or emoji on the screen of smiling, and just their hand, they were making their hairstyle just to be captured in the camera, and you could see a hairstyle on the screen and the line. All these stood still to smile through their hair at the uncle with the camera, and their uncle also was there, and he had a camera, and just they wanted to be captured in the camera. A sweet face, my mother's, and my mother's face was very sweet according to the picture. That was before I was born, and that face, that laughing face, just it was before I was born. And the sea, which appears to have changed less, washed their terribly transient or temporary feet. And the sea, which appears to have changed less, because this is a natural, and sea can't be changed, it doesn't change its position and criteria as well as area, washed their terribly transient temporary feet. You can say the growing feet of my mother and her two cousins, because aging and growing, it is the natural process, and their legs, just it was growing up with the time, but the sea, it was changeless. So, in this stanza, the poetess talks about the appearance of her mother, as you could see in the picture, and she talks about terribly transient, temporary fate, just you can say the time, because they were growing up with the time, but the sea was changeless. Next stanza, some 30 years later, see a laugh at the snapshot. Some 30 years later, when she was 12 years old, After 20 or 30 years later, so it is the time of 32. I think when she is at the age of 32, she laughed at the snapshot of photograph. See, Betty and Dolly, she would say, and look how they had raced us for the beach. The sea holiday. In these lines, the poetess says that it was sea holiday. When poetess mother describes everything to the poetess, it was sea holiday and it was the past of the poetess. Okay, and mine is her laughter. The mother's laughter was past for the poetess, and sea holiday, it was past for poetess mother. Both try, both have lost, ironically mocking with the labored ease of loss. Means, anyhow, we could manage our emotions to forget those accidents out of our brain. Some 20, 30 years later, this loss that we have lost is just somehow or hardly we could recover from those memories, because what levered is what was the loss for both. The poetess mother was a losing point, a losing thing for the poetess, because she is no more. But for the poetess mother, that sea holiday was lost and she could not go in her childish days. So, just they both have lost two things. Next stanza, that is now, she has been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived. Now, this is the moment when poetess mother has died nearly many years ago, as that girl lived. Means 32 years ago, just she has died, and all this circumstance, there is nothing to say at all. Just whenever she was 12 years old, as many years, just approximately it has been 12 years ago when the poetess mother was dead. And of this circumstance, there is nothing to say at all. It's silence. Silence is a complete absence of sound. There is no sound around the poetess. She is sitting in the chair and just she is memorizing about the scene whenever her mother kept telling her about the photograph which was hanging by the wall in front of her. So it was the explanation of this poem. That's it, and have a nice day.